Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, we're previewing UFC Orlando. Kevin Holland versus Wonderboy Thompson. Ontario has banned UFC betting, and Nate Diaz is a free agent.
Let's go!
Let's go. So let's go. There's AJ. Hey, AJ.
What's up, Chicano?
What?
Oh, but hey, what's up, man? So we're missing Freddie tonight again?
Yeah, Mr.
Freddie's
Garcia is not
living
here
la
with us
vida
tonight.
loca, man.
Yeah, Freddie's not here with us again. Missing Fred
Freaky
again.
Freddie. It's weird. 2 in a row doesn't usually happen with Freddie. Usually once a month, it's norm. Because Freddie goes to Trois-Rivières. It's a long story. He likes to travel there. It's like the place to go for Freddie in Quebec. And but this time it's a different story.
Not even true, but all right.
Well, according to Freddie, it is. Trois-Rivières, man. All he talks about is Trois-Rivières. Guys, you should move to Trois-Rivières. I'm telling you, it's actually pretty nice, Trois-Rivières. I'm going to give it some credit. I've been there. Really nice people. You know, first time I ate au coq chicken in all of Quebec was in Trois-Rivières.
You ate what? The first time you ate coq was in Trois-Rivières?
Au coq, assis.
No.
Or was it Benny's? No, it was au coq. You know, the coq.
Cool.
They like the
I
cock
actually
in
talked to
Trois-Rivières.
Fred, I think it was today at the gym, maybe? I think it was today at the gym we were talking about Trois-Rivières and how he doesn't want to live there.
See?
So I think you're talking
What?
complete
No, that's
nonsense
impossible.
because I spoke to
dude.
the man today. I wish he were here right now so he could tell us his actual thoughts. But Fred is not here. You just have me and AJ, which is, you know, as good as we have to offer you
As
tonight.
good as it gets. Listen, you must have got submitted because all Freddie talks about is how he likes Trois-Rivières. I'm just saying, bud.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying.
I must have got submitted because all Freddie talks about that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, because you were probably in a state of consciousness, and you probably thought he said that. I think you're wrong on that, Freddie. I think Freddie loves Trois-Rivières.
You
I'm
just
pretty
called me
sure.
Freddie, so I think you're a
I
little
did, man.
confused.
Yeah, I'm a bit mad. Listen, I'm under the weather again, man. Everybody's getting sick. Just when you got better, you're getting sick again, man. I'm hanging in, bud. I'm hanging in. I couldn't let you
Hanging
go solo,
tough like
guys.
the new kids on the block over there, Big AJ. Hanging tough. You doing good?
I saw them live, man. I saw the
I'm
kids
sure
on the block
you
live.
did.
Dude, I
In
did, man.
Trois-Rivières, it was the first time you sampled cock.
Au cock to you, bud. But listen, I did see New Kids on the Block here in Montreal. I went with my sister. It was actually a pretty wild experience, man.
She went with you. Let's be honest.
It's very possible, man.
Yeah.
Hands up.
All right.
Oh, no,
Shout
almost
out.
lost.
Shout
What?
out Sasha Lagarde. Shout out
Sasha!
Angelo Contagonis. Two
Whoppa!
guys that know what's up because they have renewed their membership to the Ringside Report Network, which is exactly what you need to do. You get tremendous perks. You get to be part of the team. You get to be recognized by me, Dave.
Ooh, that's a big thing, man.
I mean, I don't
I get it
recognize
bigger
a
than
lot of
that.
people. I don't acknowledge a lot of people.
No, he doesn't, actually.
All right?
He's
I'm
not
not
very
acknowledging a lot of people, but I acknowledge Angelo Contagonis. I acknowledge you, Angelo. I acknowledge you, Sasha Lagarde. I acknowledge the members. I acknowledge
very
our
nice of you,
friend
Dave.
Antoinette, who's going to be making
Ooh,
the trip
poor
to
Antoinette.
Montreal in February.
And not making any money in Ontario for betting now.
And
So
we'll be
sorry,
seeing her.
Antoinette.
Yeah, let's talk
Blame
about...
James Krause.
We're going to get to UFC Orlando. I've got some picks for you. We're going to give you a parlay. Feels like it's been a while since we've done a UFC betting parlay. I guess because we had nothing last weekend, it feels a little empty, right?
It's been pretty empty, but we were on a good streak for a little
No,
while.
we
didn't
weren't.
do too bad.
Let's not lie.
Well,
Let's not lie. I've been doing terribly, and I
no,
needed
but
a week off
AJ's
to
only been
recharge
AJ's been pretty
You haven't been doing well either, AJ. Let's
been
not
better
kid the
than
people.
Dave and Freddie, man. I'm just saying, but
No, you
Just
have
saying.
not been doing better than Dave and
saying.
Freddie. You just like to say
saying.
that, but it's not true. It's just something you say, you know. But I think we haven't done tremendously on the parlays in the past. I'd say November was not a great month, but October, September before that were pretty good. So we're looking to bounce back here in the month of December, and we've got a nice fight card to start off the month It'll be Stephen the Wonderboy Thompson taking on Kevin Holland. This one in Orlando, Florida. That is a 5-round main event at 170 pounds. Brian Barberena and Rafael Dos Anjos is the co-main event. RDA, former lightweight champion of the world. Mateus Nicolau and Matt Schnell in a flyweight bout. Tai Tuivasa and Sergey Pavlovich in a barn burner of a heavyweight fight. I am all over that fight. That's going to be awesome. Jack Hermanson taking on Roman Dolidze. That's a good one, too. And your boy, Eric Anders, takes on Kyle Dawkins. And that's all on the main card. That is a solid Fight Night card. I feel like when they step out of the Apex, when the UFC actually has to sell tickets to an arena, like the Amway Center in Orlando, which is where they'll be on Saturday, they really spice up the Fight Night cards. It's not a pay-per-view, but you could tell they're looking to sell tickets. You've got Angela Hill and Emily Ducote on the prelims, Clay Guida and Scott Holtzman on the prelims, Michael Johnson against Mark Diakese on the prelims.
That's a good prelim, man.
Tracy Cortez against Amanda Ribas is a top-level flyweight fight, and that is 4th fight of the night. Of course, I got to give a shout-out to my man, Natan Levy, taking on Genaro Valdez. Natan, out of Israel.
He's good, man.
Yeah,
he's impressive, that kid, man.
Yeah, he is impressive.
7-1, man. He's something like, it's going to be a tough fight because Genaro is 10-1, a good fighter himself. It's going to be it could be one of those fight of the nights, off the prelim card. I mean, but Nathan, man, he's something. So, look, that's going to be a tough one. But I'll probably give the edge to Nathan for the win on that one. We should have like a prelim.
I like how you said Gennaro like you thought he was Italian. He's Mexican.
Yeah, well, listen, I know, but Gennaro is Italian. But
it is an Italian name sometimes.
Spanish,
or
Gennaro is pretty Italian. But
right.
Valdez, I'll give it to you.
He's
but
Mexican.
listen, man.
He's from Mexico.
Mexico. Home of Canelo.
AJ's just gonna claim home country in any country that is brought up at this point.
Listen, man, you brought up Mexico. I'm thinking of Canelo apologizing to Messi, man.
We'll get to that. We can talk about the
fair.
World Cup a little bit later, AJ, if you want to. I know. I'm rocking the jersey
man.
right now. Got a nice France jersey. Toss it on. I got one of many in my France jersey collection. This is an old one. You can tell it's old because there's only one. There's only one of these stars.
Yeah, that's a collector's, man. It's a nice one.
I have a lot of France jerseys with only one star because they only added the second star in the last World Cup when they won, because that's what the stars are for. It's for World Cup victory. So France has 2 on their jersey currently. I do have a 2-star France jersey. Looking to add a 3rd star this year. I like France's chances.
It's gonna be tough, dude.
I like the chances, AJ. I like the chances very much.
But you can't lose in in the first round.
They can't lose at all. If they want to win the tournament, they have to win every game from here on in.
Every game, man. That's it, man.
And yeah, France lost to Tunisia, but France lost to Tunisia throwing out their B squad. They had Mbappe, they had Griezmann, and they had Lloris all sitting on the bench.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of strategy.
They didn't need to win. They lost the game, and they still managed to win the group. It didn't really matter. Why not rest your stars?
Listen, man, rest what, man? These guys are professional athletes that train at the highest level. To sit them out, to me, is ridiculous because you got to be out there. You got to be sharpening those skills, gelling with the team, and winning.
Who are we going to listen to? AJ D'Alessio, noted man, or Didier Deschamps, noted coach of a World Cup winning France national team? Who are you going to listen to, AJ?
Listen to AJ because France is not winning. The winners of the World Cup are going to be there's going to be 3 of them that are going to be on the top there, and France is not one of them. 1, Brazil. 2, Argentina.
What?
3, Portugal.
Oh, maybe if they could beat Saudi Arabia, they'd have a chance, Argentina. Get the hell out of here.
Man. But when you got Messi on there, man, listen, it gets messy out there. But to be honest,
France has got Poland next round. Let's go.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. Poland's no joke,
you can talk a lot of smack over there, AJ, but where are your boys in this thing? What happened?
Hey, man, listen, our boys won the Euro Cup. I don't know about France. They didn't do it.
Didn't even qualify.
Hey. Doesn't matter. We won the Euro, which France did not claim. So Italy, even though they're watching it at home with their cappuccinos and their like little biscotti, and like everybody in Italy is all pissed off, but they still won the Euro. So at least you have that.
Whatever.
But they
They're
better
not
be
in
the
the
next
World Cup. I bet you they would like to be in the World Cup.
Well, listen, for the next World Cup is going to be a little bit of a change-up. There's going to be added 2 more teams in the roster. It's going up to 48. There's going to be like a whole bunch of
Do they really need more teams in the World Cup?
No, man. I want to see quality teams, man.
Yeah.
Mind you, look at Canada. Unfortunately, Canada had they had a
we need some quality teams.
Tournament.
Not teams like Canada who suck.
No, Canada did well. At least we scored a goal in this World Cup. We got to give it to them. And the beautiful thing is 2 goals. And
they scored again today, right? They lost the game today again to Morocco.
Bad,
Canada lost. They lost all 3 games in group stages. They lost to every team in their group. Yeah, and, of course, didn't move on to the next stage. Canada made the World Cup. They didn't have a great showing. Although people in this country are acting like scoring a goal in the World Cup is like
it's like hitting a home run, man.
I don't.
Is, man.
Well, I mean, how about a draw? I mean, if we could get a draw, that would have been nice. Just a tie.
Yeah.
Just finish with a tie. But I feel like people in this country are acting like, whoa, Canada did so good at the World Cup. What do you mean they did so good at the World Cup? They lost all 3 games. They did terribly. I mean, they did about as bad as you could do. 3 losses. Okay, the goal differential wasn't too bad. They didn't get a bunch of goals scored on them. They made it look respectable. But in the end, I mean, the result was not
I still
great
the Canadian
for Canada.
Team for making
Considering all these other jabroni teams that managed to go through and all the weird stuff that was happening at the World Cup, you would think maybe Canada would have a little bit of a better shot. Like today, I watched Japan beat Spain at the World Cup.
That's crazy.
Okay, and because they beat Spain, they advanced into the next round. And Germany, who Japan also beat in the group stages, Germany stays behind, does not advance to the next stage, and
Is that incredible?
Spain and Japan advance.
That's unbelievable.
Japan.
Unbelievable.
You look at that group, it's like, oh, there's Japan in the group, and then there's Spain and Germany. Who do you think is going to advance? Well, Spain and Germany, of course. Nope, Spain and Japan. Amazing.
Made in Japan, man. They're not only good baseball players, players. They're good soccer players. And you know what? Japan has given Italy a hard time, back in the past. I mean, Japan is one of these underrated teams, but they managed to squeak it out. And that's the thing, man. This is a World Cup, which, look, it's not like the most, how can I say it, the most entertaining World Cup to be out of bars and whatnot. It's just like it's a weird time in the whole process, but there's so much controversy.
You know why you're saying that, HA? Because Italy's not in it, and it's not that exciting for you and all your buddies. So it's not the most entertaining for you, because if Italy was in it, it'd be like, oh, Azzurri, all that stuff.
Listen,
but
Japan
I've been entertained. I've been entertained by this World Cup. I thought that we've had some really good games.
There has, and all joking aside, I mean, there's been a lot of great teams playing. And a lot of the smaller clubs. Look at Morocco, man. Like, I'm happy for them. Moroccans have some great soccer players. Unfortunately, they beat Canada. But the good thing about all this is that we're going to see Canada in the next World Cup because as part of the host country, Canada will be there. They've got that taste for it. They've got 4 years to redevelop the team, man. Alphonso Davies, let's hope he'll be there. One of the best players in the world. I mean, we've got quality players playing at an international level. For the Canadian national team. In 4 years, we're going to have a better Canadian team, and who knows what, man. Anything can happen. But who knows? Maybe Japan is going to be the World Cup winners this year, man.
All the Canadian games. I was rooting for Canada. I didn't watch all the games in the World Cup in the group stages, obviously. There's so many games, and a lot of them started at like 5 or 6 a.m., but I watched all the Canada games and, of course, all the France games. Got to watch the France games. I always watch the France games.
And USA advanced, right? So anything's possible, man.
But, it was nice to watch Canada. Like, they had a good game against Belgium, but they weren't able to come away with the result. They had a good game, again, I thought, against Croatia, where they went up 1-0, and then, of course, they lost 4-1, and then today
Croatia,
again
man,
against...
very dangerous team, man.
Yeah. It
And
didn't,
that's the thing.
it didn't work out so well for Canada, but I was definitely rooting for them. I wanted to see them successful. It's my home country, so and you don't see them. You don't see them in the World Cup. It's not something that you often see. So it was cool.
About Italy right now.
It was cool that they made it, and I hope that the next time around they can maybe win a game. I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, let's advance out of the group stages, and maybe that's too much to ask for Canada. But win a game at the World Cup would be pretty awesome. Or how about a draw? How about next World Cup, we hope to tie one game? I mean, the way people are acting that Canada scored a couple goals in the World Cup despite losing all 3 games, if Canada has a tie in the next World Cup, they might throw a parade. People might go crazy. Oh, my God, it's a tie. It's the greatest thing in Canadian soccer history. Okay, if that's the greatest thing in Canadian soccer history, we're really we've got a big mountain to climb here. We really haven't done much.
They made it. They're going to be there in 4 years. They're going to have 4 years to redevelop all the younger players, man. I'm telling you, Canada's on a good track. Look at the USA, man. They're going to beat Netherlands. I'm telling you. Remember what I said. USA is going to win.
Netherlands and the U.S. in the round of 16 is Saturday. Argentina, Australia, Saturday as well. France, Poland on Sunday. England and Senegal, Sunday as well. France going to beat Poland. Senegal could beat England. I could see that.
No.
No matter what, no matter who wins that game, they're losing to France in the next round.
I don't think so. I think England has well, okay.
England, those guys are a bunch of chokers. They're gonna buckle. They always buckle. They can't take they can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen. Go eat some crumpets. Get out of here. Go drink some tea.
I'm telling you, don't mess with England. Listen, Bisping will say otherwise, but I'm gonna tell you, the one that worries me the most is the Morocco-Spain game, man. I think Morocco can overtake Spain here.
Spain is not impressing me. Spain is not looking great.
Morocco, man. Morocco!
Japan, Croatia. I mean, who knows?
Well, Croatia is a tough
Croatia's
team,
good.
Man. Listen, Croatia. Listen, this is the year that Croatia can carry it away, man. They can do it, man. They're always there, man. They always get to the round of 16, man. They're tough, man.
I'm rooting for Japan. Japan is a fun story. I like Japan. I want to see them do well.
Listen,
that goal? Did you see the goal they scored today to win? That ball looked like, oh man, the ball seemed to go over the goal line. But he kicked it and he crossed it and the guy scored and it was like, I don't know. You should check out the goal and check out the replay because it was very close. But they did the VAR thing and they're like, no, it's a goal. And I was like,
really?
The ball looked like it went over the line. I don't know. I think Japan, they're really good at technology. I think they made the VAR and they're like, no, it's a goal. Don't worry about it. It's a Mitsubishi, it's all good. Samsung.
Listen, man, talk about Ontario and all the betting issues and whatnot. It's not only in UFC or boxing, man. Soccer's been known to
Okay, well, you're jumping ahead a little bit here. You're jumping ahead.
Jumping, but I'm trying to tie it in,
You are
Dave.
jumping.
I'm going to tie it in. I'm building it up, man.
You're jumping.
Like a cake.
Jumping. Why are you jumping on me?
Jump up.
Let me give you some information.
Let's hear it.
Let me give you some information. The province of Ontario. Now, you say this is good for us, and I'm going to tell you why it's not good for us.
Okay, tell me, man. Tell me.
The province of Ontario has suspended betting on UFC fights.
Boo.
Okay? Now, this is a statement put out today by the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, which is similar to what we have here in the province of Quebec, La Régie des Alcools, des Courses et des Jeux, right? So this is what they put out today, the ACGO in Ontario. In order to protect the betting public effective immediately, the ACGO is requiring all registered casino, lottery, and iGaming operators that offer sport and event betting products in Ontario to stop offering and accepting wagers on Ultimate Fighting Championships events due to concerns about non-compliance with ACGO's betting integrity requirements. The registrar standards include rules to safeguard against odds manipulation, match fixing, and other sports betting integrity issues. Operators must specifically ensure that for sporting events being bet on, the event must be effectively supervised by a sport governing body, which must, at minimum, prescribe final rules and enforce codes of conduct that include prohibitions on betting by insiders, and there are integrity safeguards in place which are sufficient to mitigate the risk of match fixing, cheat at play, and other illicit activity that might influence the outcome of bet upon events. Contrary to the registrar standards, the UFC does not prohibit all insiders from betting on UFC events, which could include an athlete's coaches, managers, handlers, athletic trainers, medical professionals, or other persons with access to non-public information. Okay. So this comes from a fight recently where a fighter came in hurt, and he knew he was hurt. His corner knew he was hurt. And apparently some of the betting public found out he was hurt and started putting all sorts of money on this fighter to lose and to lose in the first round. Now, this happened in the UFC. And the guy did lose, and he lost in the first round. So there was some big line movement. And this fighter's coach, James Krause, has a podcast, I think, and a website where he talks about not only MMA, but also betting and gambling and how to pick fights. And apparently does so with a certain degree of accuracy. Might have to take a look at Mr. Krause, see what he's doing. Get some insider information for myself. Now, there was a lot of looking at this fight, and a lot of people were suspicious. And a lot of people were asking questions. And James Krause was then removed as being allowed to corner anyone in the UFC while he's under investigation. And it definitely does raise questions about the integrity of gambling and the information that comes out of certain insiders, right? People close to the fighters. The province of Ontario banning the UFC betting, suspending. It's not an outright ban, it's a suspension. And they say that they're going to speak with the UFC and different gaming people in Ontario to try and bring back the UFC, because it is very popular. But there is provincial betting. There's all sorts of betting going on in the province of Ontario. I mean, at this point, gambling is basically legalized all across the board. Sports gambling, whatever, in Canada. But the UFC is being taken off the board as a sport that you can bet on, which I'm sure, I mean, if I were in Ontario, I would be super mad because I only bet on UFC stuff. I don't bet on any other sport but the UFC. I don't gamble on anything but the UFC. And I do that because I think that I am privy to certain insider information that gives me an edge, even though I'm wrong a lot of the time.
Well, you started off the year well. I mean,
yeah, look, I've had some moments and but I am not privy to inside information, right? I am not in camp with UFC fighters. I don't know what's really going on. But of course, being a martial artist, AJ, you're a martial artist. We're in the gym. We're around people. We're around competitors. We're around fighters. And you hear whispers. And I'm not talking about specific to a fight like, hey, this guy's hurt. You just hear things about different guys that you would not hear about in the general public, right? Because in the gym, you're rolling around with guys. There's a bond. And, people talk, right? You're talking, you're chatting. We're all buddies. We're all talking, and you hear things. And because it's in the fight realm, you're hearing a lot of fight info that you wouldn't ordinarily hear just at your local store or wherever the hell else you're getting together with your buddies, right? So that does happen. That for sure happens. But I would contest that there is absolutely no way to stop that ever. You can try as hard as you might. If you're a gambling authority, if you're the UFC, if you're trying to fix this problem of information leaking out, you could try. You will fail. You could tell the coaches in the corner that they can't bet on the fight. Fine. Who is that? 3 guys? You know how many coaches these fighters have? Right? Oh, who do you have in your corner? Oh, I've got my MMA coach, and I've got my jiu-jitsu coach, and I got my boxing coach. Oh, okay. Who are those guys over there? Oh, that's my strength and conditioning coach. That's my nutritionist. That's my wrestling coach. That's my massager. And do they know stuff about your body, intimate details that the public wouldn't know? Yeah. Are they in your corner? No. Can they bet on the fight? How about the trainers? Yes, they can bet on the fight. Why? Because the UFC can't tell everybody involved with a fighter what to do. They can't. It's too wide of a net. And the UFC can say, hey, if you're in the corner, if you're wearing one of those UFC jerseys in the corner, you're on UFC TV, you're not allowed to bet. If you're registered with the Athletic Commission with your fighter, you can't bet on the fighter or with UFC or any UFC fights. Fine. If you work for the UFC, you can't bet on the fights. Fine. They can do all of that. But you can't tell some training partner who wrestles with fighter X, who's back at home watching the fight. He's back in whatever, Montana, Nebraska. He's sitting there at home. He sees his boy, who he knows is either going to win or lose because he knows whatever, right? You can't tell him he can't go and place a bet because you don't know whether he's placing that bet or not. Because you can't cast that wide of a net. You can't say, everybody at this gym and that gym and that gym, none of you can place bets. And that's the only way that you would stop any kind of insider knowledge from infiltrating into the gambling world.
Yeah, but that applies for all sports, Dave. Like, if you look at it, you look at boxing. Boxing was notorious for
different. Here's the different. Boxing, okay. Boxing, sure. I get. But a lot of the pro sports, right, like NBA, NFL, those types of sports, they all work for the league. Mm-hmm. They're all under contract with the league. Anybody that has any kind, like, it's the team doctors, right? It's the team whatever. Everybody works for the team. Everybody works for the league. So they can control those people. What I'm saying is, and with boxing, it's the same deal. You can't control a whole gym. You can't. Because none of those people work for the UFC. There might, in a gym, say an MMA gym, right? There may be 3 or 4 MMA fighters that are fighting for the UFC, but like you'll have 50 other people that don't, that may roll around with 1 or 2 of the MMA fighters, and they may have an idea of how they're feeling and what's going on, but you can't regulate all the training partners. You can't regulate all the coaches. You can't because you don't know who they are. And a fighter does not have to disclose each and every training partner that they've had over the past 8 weeks of camp leading into a fight. Like, they don't do that. They don't have to do that. I don't think they could do that. People would slip through the cracks. You know how many people these fighters interact with on a weekly and monthly basis? There's a lot of people that go into a fight camp, right? A lot of people. And it's not just the 3 guys in the corner and a couple training partners to spar a couple times a week. Like, that's not how it goes. It's 24/7, it's 7 days a week, and there's a lot of people involved. A lot of people will see you. So it's very difficult to tell those people that they can't gamble on your fight because they don't work for the UFC.
But you brought up a good point, Dave, because a lot of gyms right now, in fact, I even saw, like, within the last week or so, you have big gyms like TriStar that basically open up like sparring sessions. If you're a fighter and you want to come and fight, you're invited. You could walk in. So there's so many people now that are involved that can see things that most people don't see. And, I don't want to jump the gun here, but I remember like way back, like years ago, a particular fighter, no name and whatnot, that I had, good conversations with. He wasn't from Quebec. He was actually from Ontario. But he told me something before the fight where I'm like, oh, this guy is cooked. When it comes to something that's, health related, I'm like, and he's I knew the guy. I helped him get into MMA. Really good track record. Training out of a gym, out of like one of the big gyms in Ontario. But when he disclosed what he disclosed to me the night before the fight, of course I'm going to encourage him. The minute I left the hotel room, I'm like, this kid is done.
Yeah.
And I said it to a friend of mine, that night. I said, listen, man, this guy, if he lasts like the first round, I'd be surprised. And all to say is, he had an amazing record on the road to like great, like, a great career. But, I didn't really like the form of the training camp or the division that he was fighting in and whatnot that he made it to anyways. All I could have said is I could have bet on that guy to lose. I would have known he was going to lose. He didn't make it past the first round. In fact, I think he was taken out in 45 seconds just because of that medical condition. And what I'm saying is there's so much of that information leading up to the fight. There's so many fighters that walk into a fight with, I can even say the same thing with Conor McGregor, with Poirier. Apparently he had like the shin issues leading up to the fight. Everybody knew that. The problem is that when you listen,
I wish I would have known that.
Yeah, but the thing is that there are people out there that know things that you hope it won't happen in the fight. You hope that you don't step on that mine and it'll happen after the fight. But sometimes you can't avoid it. Conor could have been a good example. They knew that he had a hairline fracture. That could have opened up like a landmine, which it did, and that was the end of Conor. He'll be back. But what I'm trying to say is it's hard to control. There's so many people involved at all levels, and that's including family too, man. It could be your brother, your sister. They like gambling, and you know what? We saw that with Pete Rose too. I always use the Pete Rose example in baseball and whatnot. Like, it's a bit different, but he was banned from the sport. What I think is going to happen now is that the UFC is going to make an example of this individual. He'll be the Pete Rose of MMA. I think James Krause will be hit hard in the next little while to keep the integrity of the UFC. I mean, I don't think it was great that he said it. I mean, Ontario right now, I'm looking at a lot of comments and whatnot, man. All of Ontario that bets on MMA.
Yeah,
hopefully they're fans of the sport.
They must be mad.
But they're mad as hell, man. And you know what? Like, it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not a good image for the UFC because they're basing it on a fight with Minner and Shaylan. Listen, like honestly speaking, man, he wasn't doing too bad till his leg blew out. But
but his leg was blown out before the fight happened. And the problem is, AJ, people were betting on him to lose in the first round at an alarming rate, so much that the line moved and it raised flags. Right? Flags were raised, and it's come to this, where now the province of Ontario is saying, whoa, there's an integrity issue here with the UFC in some of these fights. We're not touching them anymore, which it's dangerous in the sense that I'm worried about other jurisdictions doing this. I'm worried about the province of Quebec doing this. I'm worried about other provinces in Canada doing this. This could be a real issue, and I really hope that it's not, because just as a fan of MMA and as a guy who likes to gamble a little bit for fun.
Well, we have sponsors that we work with.
Bet99.com, but also, I mean, I like to bet on the fights. It's a little bit of a game. I don't lose my shirt over it. I don't bet a ton of money. Like they say on the commercials, bet responsibly. And I do. Right. I listen to commercials. I bet responsibly. Like I have a very small budget every UFC event, and I bet my little money, and I win some, and I lose some, and I never, it's not like, oh, no, I lost my UFC bets this week. I can't eat, or I won't have any weed to smoke or anything. I'm always fine, I'm not worried. But that I think is totally fine. You know, I think gambling responsibly for fun is fine if you enjoy it as a hobby and if it enhances your experience watching the UFC, which for me it does. It makes it more interesting. I feel like I have more invested because I actually have some money on the line that I could win or lose. It's fun. It makes it a little bit more fun. And just selfishly for me, living here in Quebec, that's right next to Ontario, I'm worried. Like, uh-oh, they're going to take the UFC off the board in Ontario. What are they going to do in Quebec? So it's a little bit worrisome. Hopefully they can fix it and the people in Ontario could start betting on the UFC again. But, you know, definitely
I think
understandable given what just happened, right? It's understandable given what just happened in the UFC. AJ? Are you there?
Yeah. No, it's just that, like, I saw the stream, like, sort of lag there a bit. I wasn't sure. But you know what? The thing is this, is that, like, I was reading some comments, and one guy was like, you know what? I enjoy betting on the UFC. You know, it kind of supplements my income, you know, and that's, like, what are we going to do now? That was a supplementary income to whatever pay he was making.
Well,
it sucks. Listen, to some
you'd have
people,
to be pretty
like,
good to make it a supplementary income. I mean, you'd have to be pretty good.
Listen, yeah, you got to be pretty good. But the thing is that sometimes
not something you can count on.
No, you can't count on it. But what I'm saying is that it's unfortunate that this is happening. I don't think it's going to transpire into Quebec and the rest of Canada. Talks involved, and I think eventually they'll put the MMA grid in Ontario. But still, like, I mean, Krause and all that, like, he opened up a can of worms that I think is going to fall on him from the UFC. The UFC is not going to just
issues here.
Yeah, it's.
I think we're all right.
Did you piss off? Yeah, but all to say is, man, it kind of sucks, man, that they came to this conclusion of MMA. I mean, there were so many other incidences that you can see in boxing, you know, and whatnot in the past that you can say, listen, man, that guy didn't even take a punch and he's on the canvas. So you're not going to tell me that that's not fixed? We've seen that. Like, I find it kind of hard because Minner was actually doing okay. He lost in 67 seconds with that KO. But he was doing okay, and then you could see that there was a problem with the leg, and then he lost. I just want to know how they came to the conclusion that they think that was, you know, well, it wasn't fixed, but where the algorithm started to shoot up. Was it like within the 67 seconds? Was it before the fight? I mean, how many people could have really known? You know what I'm saying? That it shot up to that much that it became like, you know, a flag. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. Apparently, he's got a Discord server, Krause, where he gives picks, and the Discord was jumping off, and I don't know.
Look, maybe he wants to be a hero, the guy, and he's probably good at his picks. He definitely has insider information and whatnot. But if that's the case, don't penalize the fans that watch the sport. Go after the people that are in that inner circle. That's who you go after.
But again, like I said, a few weeks ago when this started, if you're fighting, right, you're making $10,000 for your fight, right?
Right.
And if you don't fight, you don't make that $10,000. You know, it's 10 and 10. 10 to show, 10 to another 10 to win.
Right.
You need that 10. You need to show up because you're hurt. You know you're going to be out for a while. You have this fight booked, and you need money.
What's happening, Dave?
What? What's the matter? Can you hear me? What is going on?
Right.
Why you say what's happening?
Yeah,
I feel
hear
like
you.
everything's fine.
No.
Huh?
It's like I feel like I'm in.
You're lagging.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my end, but
I think it's on your end right now, or maybe it's on my end. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hearing that it's really. I don't know, man. What's this? I see a comment. Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah.
I see a comment there from Dino Stakes there. He says, I live right next to Lee Summit. Perhaps I should go have a talking with old Krause. Maybe, Dino, you might have to do that because right now, man, he's messed up a lot of things. But, you know, people are pissed, man. Dave, what's happening? Are we
No, I think we're all right. I think we're all right. We may be having some lagging issues here. I don't know. I'm trying to
Listen,
figure
man,
out what's going on.
Maybe, you know.
Anyways, we'll see what happens here with the gambling in Ontario. Hopefully it doesn't trickle over to Quebec because I like to bet on the UFC. And I'm going to bet on the UFC this weekend. We're going to give you our parlay picks here in just a minute. Want to give a shout-out to the Canadian gangster, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, who won the $1 million. If you bet on Olivier, you cashed in. Just keep on betting on Olivier. That guy is money, winning. And I loved his statement after the fight. Olivier saying, Quebec is back, tabarnak. He was asked about the money, and his first statement is, Quebec is back, tabarnak. He also said that he wants to bring the PFL to Montreal. He wants to bring the PFL to Quebec, either Quebec City or Montreal, but Olivier angling to bring the PFL over here in his home province, representing for his home province fighters as well, talking about those guys needing an opportunity and a show to fight in, and the PFL would be a great spot. And I was very, very pleased to see Olivier win the $1 million, but also just represent so well for Canada, for Quebec. He's a great guy, and this was, crowning achievement. He's the PFL champion. He won $1 million. We've been following his career since the start in MMA, and to see him now on top of the world winning the $1 million was a really great moment last Friday night. So very, very happy for Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and he is a top-notch guy, a top-notch fighter, and he deserves it. A lot of people win a lot of things, and it's nice, but when Olivier won that $1 million, it was like, yeah, this guy deserves it. This is really nice. So I was quite happy to see him win. Friend of the show. He's been on the show before. Hopefully he'll come on the show again, although I know he's getting a lot of big media requests. He's a millionaire now. He's like big time. So he might big time us. It's possible. I mean, we had Olivier on, when he was on The Ultimate Fighter and when he was fighting for Ringside MMA and, even when he was in the UFC. But now that he's a millionaire, I don't know if Olivier will come on our little show. But hopefully he will. Hopefully he will. Although, I don't know. He's big time. He's pretty big time now. He's hanging out with all these big time people. I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's what happens. He's hanging around with all the big stars, Tom Cruise and all that kind of stuff. But listen, I'm going to tell you, Olivier is still a humble guy, man. Tom Cruise aside, he's going to come and cruise with us because that's the type of guy he is. And I'm going to tell you something. It was great to be part of Olivier's career, right from the beginning, pretty much, from his, judo days, seeing him, grow and evolve in the MMA scene here in Quebec, moving off to the UFC, continuing the path and becoming a champion in the PFL. He always deserved to be a champion, and he finally got it, and I'm so happy, like you said, Dave, because we've seen this guy grow. And to be honest, he's one of the funniest guys. Completely whacked, Olivier. He knows that. But as the Canadian gangster goes, he's whacked. But he's super, super nice, great guy, super funny, great attitude. He's got it all. As a martial artist, he's a humble guy. For sure now he's got $1 million, so he's going to be he's going to be going a little bit local, I can imagine. But you know what? He deserves it. Yeah. But I like the fact that you said that he'll try to bring the PFL here to Quebec. We need another big organization to come in. I think the PFL would be excellent here in Quebec. So many talented fighters throughout Quebec, Ontario, across Canada, in fact. This is a great place. We started TKO MMA here. Which brought a lot of stars to the UFC, George being included. PFL being, showcased by Olivier Aubin-Mercier. You have George that's involved. I think that would be a great way to finally get MMA back onto the Montreal scene. And, you can't ask for better, man. He's there. And hopefully Olivier, he's listening to the show and he hears that, you know what? Come on and give us your experience, man. Minus Uncle Benny's wine, because now Uncle Benny, rest in peace, Uncle Benny. We're going to miss you.
Olivier, great guy, great fighter. And at this point, given all he's accomplished, I'd say the second most important, most successful Quebec fighter in the history of the game, right? Now after George, it's Olivier, right? Olivier's the next
we have
guy.
A lot of guys. Listen,
yeah,
man,
but I'm saying, as far as world championship level. Yeah, Pat had a great career too, but Olivier,
Anderson Silva for the championship, So we had guys. That made it.
But look what Olivier's just done, man. He made $1 million in MMA. That's pretty cool.
But but that's it. So when you're looking at champions right now, you got George St. Pierre and you got Olivier. And I think it's great. You know, Olivier is a young guy. He's in the scene. You know, I don't know if he's going to retire now after that, but
I don't
whatever
think so.
he does, man.
I think he's going for
You don't
another
think so?
million next year.
Is he?
I think
Well,
so.
good for him, man.
Why not?
Yeah,
I think
you're
he
right.
can do it. What the
You know,
hell
and-
was that?
And explaining why is one of those things.
What the?
Who is that, Siri?
I don't know.
That crazy biatch? She's
I
listening
think
to
he's
you, man.
gonna go again for the other million. So I think what's better than 1 million? 2,
What's better than 2, 3? But I'm going to tell you,
10.
he's going to come. Yeah, that'd be nice. Or like, or you can go fight like you can fight one of the Logan brothers, man. That's what Olivier
Logan
should
brothers.
do next. You know?
Angelo congratulating Olivier on the win. Big congrats to Olivier. We're all very happy for him, and hopefully he does come on the show again, although I think last time he was a little scared off by AJ, so I'm not sure. He was a little like, I don't know. This guy AJ.
Listen,
I remember
me
we
and
said,
Olivier,
you're going to come back on the show? He's like, no. I was
like, no way. I'm like, fuck you, Olivier. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I spent time with, like I said, with Olivier when he was fighting for Team Canada. We were like together with that whole show. Man, I like the guy. He was part of our jiu-jitsu scene when I was hosting jiu-jitsu tournaments with Glenn. He was part of that, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Like, he always was, a yes guy, man. I'll do it. He's done amazing things. In fact, he was one of our original ring boys. So we had Olivier as one of our ring boys. So go figure that. He wasn't only fighting. He was kind of doing the Elias Theodoro thing in MMA, but in jiu-jitsu. I don't know
Well,
if you remember that, Dave.
I challenge Olivier to come on this show. I challenge him to show that he's still a man of the people and he's not too big time for the Ringside Report Network. So
Man,
hopefully he
no,
comes
Olivier,
on.
man, he is a man of the people. But
Yeah.
anyways, all to say is congratulations, man.
So happy for him.
Happy for the guy.
So cool.
He finally got there. He's many years of like not giving up. That's one thing with Olivier. He's persistent. He's a great example of a martial artist. Never gives up. And you know what? It's another great ambassador coming out of Quebec.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Richard Ho and the whole H2O crew. Right, been working with Olivier for so long. Great for them too. The whole team there at H2O MMA, they're doing really good stuff. They've got some really good fighters coming out of that gym. Richard Ho has done a tremendous job coaching Olivier, and he's got a great team over there. George St. Pierre always around. So congratulations to Richard and to H2O and to Olivier. A tremendous accomplishment for those guys and really inspirational for the Quebec MMA scene. Great to see Quebec MMA doing well. Really nice to see. And
It's about time again,
Olivier's head coach and my head coach are brothers. So, shout out to those guys. What else do we got here? UFC Orlando. Oh, you know what? Olivier won. And you know who lost? Kayla Harrison. Oh, shit.
I know, man.
Right?
I was shocked, man.
My
Yeah.
God. Larissa Pacheco with a unanimous decision win over Kayla Harrison. Kayla was a
She's a beast,
gigantic favorite going into that fight. And she wound up losing. So her first professional loss, now 15-1. Everybody thought that Kayla Harrison was a slam dunk. Easy peasy. Gonna win again. She had already beat Pacheco in 2019. Beat her twice in 2019. This was the third fight between them, and Pacheco wound up figuring it out and taking home a decision victory.
She
The
looked bigger.
women's lightweight tournament and $1 million.
Man, in my opinion, she looked like a bigger fighter in the third there. I mean,
Yeah.
Listen, everybody has their days, but if they fight again, I think I'm going to go with Kyla again.
I don't know. That's a tough one. But there'll have to be a tournament. and
Amanda
we'll see.
Nunes, man, listen, man, everybody has a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Just saying, Dave.
I don't know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
In
who's
fact,
Amanda
actually, on
fighting
Instagram-
next? Who's Amanda fighting next? When is she fighting again?
I don't know, man. I'm sure it's going to happen in 2023.
Is it going to be Valentina? Or is it going to be
Yeah.
Juliana?
It could be, Julian. I like to see that happen again. Just to squish the fact that it was.
Make it seem
know.
like a fluke the first time?
Yeah, I think it was a fluke.
I don't know.
I mean, like the first round was like a 10-8 round. I think it was pretty much a fluke. But things happen, man. She was injured. A lot of things. Again, if you had the insight to Amanda Nunes leading up to that fight, you would know that she had all kinds of like health issues, COVID health issues, injuries. She had everything that you don't need to lead up to a championship fight. And she still did well in the first round, man. It was a 10-8 round, in my opinion, for Amanda. Lost in the second, but shit happens. But, that's what I'm saying. This whole, like, Ontario betting stupidity right now, I think it's taken way out of, like, line. I mean, just for that one fight, you're not going to call that a fix because there's so many other fights. Amanda Nunes being a good example of that. Like, how many people bet it, like, against her, except for Dave Simon?
I bet against Amanda and she won. Juliana won the first time. Bet against her again the second time.
Yeah.
Juliana. Anyways. I don't think these fights are fixed. It's just, and no one's accusing fights of being fixed, AJ. It's just that people are saying that there are people. No. What they're saying is there are people with inside information that are taking that information and making large wagers and making money, and they can't have that. Right? Because you're not supposed to, like, if I know this fighter's got a broken arm and can't throw punches, I'm going to bet against him a lot of money, and then when he loses, I will make a lot of money, and very few people know that information, so, that's the problem with the gambling. Shout out to Angelo. Speaking of gambling, let's gamble! UFC Orlando coming up on Saturday. It's the Wonder Boy and Kevin Holland in the main event. Stephen Thompson, the Wonder Boy.
Okay there, Dave. What the hell, man?
Yeah, it's coming together. It's all right. He's 39 years old, Wonder Boy, and I feel like he is slowing down, coming off 2 straight losses to very good fighters in Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad, but he didn't seem as sharp, especially in that Bilal Muhammad fight, as I've seen him in the past. Kevin Holland, 30 years old, 9 years younger than Wonder Boy. I think that's going to help. Coming off that loss to Khamzat Chimaev, where he took the fight on short notice, very short notice, like day before notice, and of course got smashed by Khamzat like everybody else does. So that's kind of I don't know. But so far, since dropping back to welterweight from middleweight, he's looked very good in his 2 fights prior against Alex Oliveira and Tim Means, finishing them both in the second round, one by knockout, one by submission. I think Kevin Holland is up for this task. I think Kevin Holland is going to knock out Wonderboy Thompson. Holland's got power. Holland's got the advantage as far as youth, and I think explosiveness as well at this stage. Thompson, of course, is a very talented striker. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, but I don't think he'll be able to pull them off here against Kevin Holland, who is durable. You can beat Holland, but when you beat him, it's usually by out-wrestling him. Nobody's knocking out Kevin Holland. He's never lost a fight by knockout. So I don't think Wonder Boy is going to out-wrestle Kevin Holland. I think it's a favorable matchup for Kevin Holland, and the odds makers agree. Minus 172, Kevin Holland, not a huge favorite, but is a favorite. Holland, minus 172. Wonder Boy, plus 140. I'm going with Kevin Holland. Big talker. What do you think, AJ? Holland or Wonder Boy?
Man, this is going to be tough, like, in a sense, because I love Wonder Boy. I remember seeing him fight. We were talking about Pat Cote as one of the Quebec guys. Back in 2014, Dave, we were there. We were there to see that fight, and that's the fight where Pat Cote got knocked out. His first knockout, never been knocked out, an iron jaw, and that was the end of Cote's career right there in that fight. Thompson kept going. That shows you the capabilities of Wonderboy Thompson. If he connects, man, he can knock you out. But his biggest problem will be like the grappling game. Mind you, his takedown accuracy is somewhere around 60 or somewhere around there, 60%. He has like a really good takedown defense. So if Holland can be able to at least attempt to go and get him to the ground, he's going to beat him. Holland has had, I think 5 submissions in his career. The guy is capable of being on the ground. The thing is, he's a heavy striker, and if you look at it, man, he's just a bigger guy. The only thing that I'm worried about, like Holland, is he's sometimes like, it depends who steps into the octagon. Like if he's not talking as much, he's really fighting well. I mean, they don't call him the big mouth for no reason. The problem is that sometimes he's not able to back it up, and this is where he ends up losing. But when that guy is on the money, man, the guy is unbelievable. So we're really going to see a karate versus kung fu style, because this is where their backgrounds are. It's going to be a real good stand-up, but I still give that edge to Holland because of the grappling capabilities. And like I said, if Wonder Boy connects, if he can knock out Pat Cote with a granite chin, he can knock out Holland. The difference is that Holland is also a much bigger fighter. He's got a 6-inch reach into this fight. 6-inch reach onto guys that are stand-up, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Makes a difference.
You know, this fight, you know, stylistically makes, you know, is gonna be interesting. But man, 6 inches is too much. He has 3 inches on top of like Wonder Boy. The only thing that Wonder Boy has is, which is interesting, he has a 2-inch reach on his legs over Holland. But that's not going to be enough, because he still has to step into that pocket. When he does, that 6-inch reach, man, 6 inches is a huge difference. I think Holland, I don't know if he's going to knock him out. It might go the distance, but I'm going to give the edge to Holland. You know, I was going back and forth on this, Dave, all week. I'm like, man, like, you know, I can't forget Wonder Boy, because Wonder Boy, he's done this, this, and this. And if you look at everything he's done, man, you know, it's been impressive. And, you know, you look at his wins, man, over Ellenberger, over Hendricks, over Cote, man. These guys are, you know.
Retired.
You know, over Whitaker. Yeah, but still, man, these are.
Most of those guys are retired.
Well, yeah, they come to a point where they're retired, but that's what I'm trying to get is.
Wonder Boy is long in the tooth. He's been around for a long time. Yeah. He's 39 years old. Nothing lasts forever. I'm a big fan of Wonder Boy. Yeah. Great fighter. I've watched his whole career. Tremendous. However, everybody has their day.
Yeah, you're right, and I remember you saying that.
Holland by knockout plus 157. Holland by decision plus 333. So the odds makers are favoring Holland to win by KO. Will the fight go the distance? Yes, plus 142. No, minus 209. So odds makers.
I see this going more the distance.
I think it's going to be Holland by knockout.
I don't see anybody getting knocked out.
Yeah, I just think Holland has good power, and he's going to hurt Wonder Boy. Put him down. Could be early, too. I've got Kevin Holland to win. Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Brian Barberena. This is a weird matchup. I'm not really sure why.
That's going to be tough, man.
Barberena is kind of trying to do a tour of beating up old guys. He's 33 years old, coming off wins over Matt Brown and Robbie Lawler. Now trying to finish the trilogy here with Rafael Dos Anjos, right? Well, why is he fighting the older guys? Fighting Matt Brown and Robbie Lawler? In 2022, he fought those guys both this year, and now he's fighting Rafael Dos Anjos to end the year. What a strange year. If Brian Barberena was fighting these guys 6-7 years ago, Brian Barberena would be one of the top fighters in the world. But right now, it's just like, what is your schedule, dude? Why is the UFC booking you against these guys? It's weird. I don't think Barberena wins, though. He's a huge underdog, and I think Rafael Dos Anjos still has a lot in the tank. He was looking real good against Rafael Fiziev until he got knocked out, but I like RDA. I think RDA is still solid. I think he's just one of the best all-around fighters that we've seen in the UFC ever. A tremendous fighter, great jiu-jitsu, great stand-up, great chin. Just a dangerous, dangerous man. I'm a big fan of RDA. He is 38 years old, but Barberena is 33. Not a huge age difference, but RDA is older. RDA, a gigantic favorite, minus 600. Barberena, plus 433, the underdog. I'm going with RDA. I'm going with the odds makers. AJ disagreeing. I could tell by the groans and the face. What's happening?
Man, he's just returning to the welterweight division. I mean, he's been fighting in lightweight. You're going up against Barberena. The guy's on a 3-fight winning streak. The guy KO'd Robbie Lawler. To me, anytime you can hurt Robbie Lawler, man, that impresses me. And this is what I'm saying, is that everybody's going on the old... Yeah, but still, listen, you're going on RDA. Everybody is still... You were talking about, like, old, like, you know, he's been long in the tooth. So is RDA in some sense. Yeah. He looked good in his last fight, but you know what? Barberena is a much bigger fighter. You know, he has a 2-inch reach on RDA. I just think RDA stepping into this fight is not a great fight for him. That's why I was kind of surprised with the odds being so good for RDA. On paper,
Barberina is kind of a wild style fighter, though. Skill-wise, I think RDA is far better.
But that's the problem. Can RDA handle somebody like him, like a Tasmanian Devil coming at you, who's on a 3-fight winning streak, that hurt a guy like Robbie Lawler, who's a Tasmanian Devil himself?
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about. I think he's going to get overwhelmed, RDA. I think Barberina's going to come in and just outmuscle this guy. And like I said, he's just coming back to welterweight. On paper, RDA looks like a killer, but he's 38 years old. It's not the same RDA, like we were saying, of the past. It's not the same, Dave, and we're going to see that on Saturday night. He's going into welterweight.
Putting a lot of stock into Robbie Lawler, who's only defeated Nick Diaz in the past 5 years.
Yeah, man, but you know what? I always look at, if you're able to like hurt Robbie Lawler, you can impress me, and I think RDA
in 2022, but okay.
Yeah. Well,
okay. That's fine, AJ. We'll see what your parlay has for us. Tai Tuivasa and Sergey Pavlovich. This is an interesting fight at heavyweight. I'm very much looking forward to it. Tuivasa coming in as an underdog, plus 171. Pavlovich minus 217. Pavlovich is on a tear. He's looked
big time.
He's looked very good. He has won 4 in a row, all by knockout, over Marcelo Golm, Maurice Green, Shamil Abdurakhimov, and then most recently Derek Lewis. But the Derek Lewis that he beat was softened up by Tai Tuivasa, who knocked out Derek earlier in the year, and then Sergey knocked him out as well. I don't feel that Derek Lewis in 2022 is the same. And I don't know how much stock I put into that knockout. I did watch our buddy Dave, Pavlovich get knocked out by Overeem today. I watched that fight, and Overeem knocked him out. The only loss in Pavlovich's career was to Alistair Overeem, a nasty ground and pound TKO from the Reem back in 2018. But since then, he's been undefeated, and the odds makers like him. Tai Tuivasa, coming off a knockout loss to Cyril Gane, which was a tremendous fight. And that's Cyril Gane, you know? I don't think Sergey Pavlovich is Cyril Gane. I am going with Tuivasa here. I think Tuivasa is just a monster. And I think Pavlovich is too, but sometimes you see two monsters go head-to-head. It's going to be the monster with the better chin. And I think Tuivasa, despite the fact he was just knocked out, may have the better chin. And I think Tuivasa has heavier hands, too. I think he might surprise Pavlovich. I'm going to go with the underdog here, Tai Tuivasa. I like Tai very much. I think he's very good. He's always improving. And the last fight against Cyril Gane, that's just a setback. Cyril Gane is top level. Just the fact that he was in there with Cyril Gane. Pavlovich is not Cyril Gane. It's a big step down in competition, right? So I'm going to go with Tai. I like Tai. He's the underdog. AJ doesn't like it. Tell me why.
Listen, Tai is not going to be drinking out of his shoe on Saturday night, and I'm going to tell you why. You forgot one thing, Dave. The Russian is a big man for that division. The Russian has powerful combinations. The Russian has a 9-inch reach advantage. 9-inch reach advantage. When you have that much power behind you, he stands, I think, an inch or two taller than Tai, but it's that 9-inch reach. When he throws that over right, man, and he connects with 9-inch reach, it's going to be lights out for Tai. And I'm telling you, man, it's not going to be an easy fight. I'm giving it to Sergey, and he's on a hot streak. He's a big guy. And you know what? Overeem fight was 2018, ground and pound land. Overeem, when he gets on top of you, I don't care who it is, he's going to win. But it's a different game now, man. You know, it's 2022. You know, the guy's only 20. How old is he? He's 30 years old. You know, Tai is 29. They're the same in age pretty much, but it's that 9-inch reach that makes the difference. I'm telling you. AJ is going to win on his picks, man, on Saturday night.
Well, that's what you say every week, and somehow...
Yeah, but I came close last one. I only lost by
close, but never quite hit. Here's my parlay. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm ready.
What?
Kevin Holland.
Okay.
minus 172. Rafael dos Anjos minus 600. And Tai Tuivasa plus 171. It's a 3-fight parlay. $20 gets you 102.29 over at bet99.com. That is Team Dave's 3-fight
That's
parlay.
not bad.
Real simple main card parlay. 3 fights. 20 gets you 100. Tai, RDA, Holland. Keeping it simple, stupid. What you got, AJ?
Okay, man. So I'm gonna go with Holland as well, man. Like, I was going back and forth. I think Holland's gonna be able to pull it off. I'm gonna go with Barberena, man. I think Barberena is gonna hurt RDA. I think RDA is stepping. It's
Big
on paper,
underdog pick.
it's RDA.
Big underdog. Okay.
Barberena, 18-8, man. He's there for a reason. And then I'm gonna go with Sergey. Like I said, man, 16-1. Sergey, big guy, 9-inch reach. I think Ty's gonna be, not drinking out of a shoe, but sucking on some like ice at the end of the night. And then, man, this is gonna be hard. But there's the Jack Hermanson fight with Roman Dolidze. The Roman, man, I'm gonna go with Roman on
both
this.
of their names. It's Jack Hermanson
What did I
and
say?
Roman. You said Hermanson.
That's what I said.
And you said
Hermanson.
Dolidze. It's
Hermanson,
Dolidze.
exactly.
Roman Dolidze.
Listen, man,
Hermanson against Dolidze. Hermanson minus 189 the favorite. Dolidze plus 154 the dog. I agree with that. I'm going with
Roman is
Hermanson
the
in that
dog.
fight. Huh?
What?
What?
I'm going with Roman, man.
Yeah, fine. Go with Roman. Should have went with Roman when
I'm
he
going
went
with
against
Roman on
Logan
that,
Paul.
and then
Eric Anders. You always pick Eric Anders.
you know what, Dave? This is hard for me. I hope he's not listening.
What?
I hope Eric Anders is not listening.
I think he's going to beat Dawkins,
I'm
though.
not
Why are
gonna
you
go
picking
with-
against him now? He's going to win.
Listen,
You pick against him
I
when you
think
you
that
pick him when you should
Dawkins
pick
is up
against
for
him,
it.
and you pick against him when you should pick him. What are you doing?
man,
Dawkins?
just because of the fact that he has a bigger reach, bigger guy,
Dawkins.
I'm telling you, man.
Fine. Is that it? Is
Actually,
that your
Roman
parlay?
knocked out Dawkins in his last night.
Is that your parlay?
I'm going with Kyle, man.
It's a 5-fight
I
parlay.
hope he's not listening. Eric, I apologize.
Are you done?
There we go. 5
Are you
fight,
done?
man. I'm
Is
turning
that
off.
it?
Yeah, I'm done.
Do we have it? Is that it?
I like the prelim. The
Are you done?
prelim looks good.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel guilty going against Eric, man.
Kevin Holland, Brian Barberena, plus 433. Good God Almighty, AJ. If that comes through, you should just bet a single bet on that. It's worth it. Sergey Pavlovich. What is this? The anti-Dave parlay? Like, so far, we both have Holland. You've got Barberena. I took RDA on my parlay. And you've got Pavlovich. I took Tai Tuivasa on my parlay. And then AJ adds Roman Dolidze, which is another bad pick. And Kyle Dawkins, which is another bad pick. I would take Anders, and I would take Hermanson. So
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm very confident on this.
wow. $20 gets you 964.37. That is a huge payout for the Team AJ 5-fight parlay. Dawkins, Dolidze, Pavlovich, Barberena, and Holland. A lot of big underdogs on this one. No wonder the payout is so good.
The payout is great, but it's just that I feel like so dirty, like going against my Roll Tide buddy. It's like,
Yeah.
Eric, if you're listening, man,
I'm disappointed
Listen,
in
man,
you, AJ.
you're
I'm
on a
disappointed.
fight with,
And finally, Nate Diaz is a free agent. When is the
Yeah.
Jake Paul fight? Next summer?
yeah, I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be either between Patty Pimblett or Diaz. One of
Right.
these two guys are.
But Patty
fighting.
Pimblett is under UFC contract. So I don't think Patty Pimblett is going to fight Jake Paul. They've been talking on Twitter, but that's not real. Twitter's not real life.
But I know, but he might just want to turn it into a sparring session as opposed to like a sanctioned fight, which Patty can do. He comes in, it's just like a sparring session, 5 rounds. Who wins, in a friendly sparring session?
Who
I
wins
think
in
you
a
can have-
boxing sparring session? How do you determine who wins if no one gets knocked out?
Listen,
In a
well,
sparring
there-
session, you're going to have judges and you're going to have money? That
There-
sounds like a professional
listen, man,
fight.
It's not, man. It's just going to be more of an entertainment than anything. But there's $1 million riding on it. Patty's like, I'm down for it, man. I'll
It's
come
not
there for,
happening,
like,
Emilien. It's not happening. They're not doing this because he's under UFC contract.
I don't know, Dave.
That's
I
true.
think it might happen, but-
that's
but-
the best statement you've made all night. I don't know, Dave. I don't know.
Listen,
don't
man.
know.
I don't know, man.
No, you
Crazier
don't
shit
know.
has happened. Conor McGregor. You know, like we've seen that fighting Mayweather. You never know, man, how the UFC is going to react. And again, Jake Paul, man, is Jake Paul. He gets things done. And eventually he's going to fight Diaz. I can see that happening.
The UFC is not going to loan out one of their biggest stars, one of their biggest upcoming stars, potential in Paddy Pimblett, to go fight Jake Paul. They will not do that. No chance in hell. Okay?
Listen, man, you know what?
Not happening.
Jake Paul is like, he's always involved in something. It'll happen at some point. I'm telling you.
I would say that the chances of Paddy Pimblett fighting Jake Paul for $1 million in a boxing match are about the same as Kanye West coming to my house for Hanukkah.
Well, we could get that arranged. I mean, I went out with like Harvey Keitel for lunch. I mean, AJ is able to do that shit, man.
All right, I'll put it out there. Yay, you are invited to my house for Hanukkah. We could have some nice Jewish traditions in the holiday season.
Matzo ball, man.
You can tell me all your thoughts about, Hitler and whatever else you're talking about these days.
Dave. You're going to have to, like, you know what? I'll do you a favor.
I'm gonna send out as a Jewish Kanye West fan, it gets more and more difficult every day to support the guy and to love him and everything. I love the music. I love the shoes. I love the fashion. There's so much about him that I love, but these days there's a lot about him that I don't like at all.
Listen, man, I'm going to do a breaking of the matzo ball. Instead of breaking of the bread, we're going to do breaking of the matzo ball. I'm going to get in touch with Ye or Ye or Kanye or whatever his name is nowadays. And I'm going to send them a Christmas Hanukkah card, and I'm going to be like, you're invited to Dave Simon's home. We're going to break matzo ball together, and we're going to talk this over, man.
Well, he seems to be doing any kind of podcast, all sorts of weird shit. He was on Alex Jones.
Why not?
He's hanging out with Holocaust deniers and shit.
Didn't he walk off a podcast just like last week? He got upset and he just picked up and walked off. I mean, it was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you've gone off the far right deep end when even Tim Pool doesn't agree with your nonsense.
Tim Pool, that's it. It was Tim Pool podcast.
Yeah,
exactly.
that guy is, I mean, he's in that realm, and Kanye, like he wasn't far enough for Kanye, which is shocking and disturbing.
I'm gonna get PR Mark. I'm gonna get PR Mark to try to get something.
Yeah,
get, like,
talk to his Nazi buddies. Maybe they'll get in touch with him. I doubt you'll be able to get in touch with Kanye directly, but maybe if you go through his Nazi entourage, you might be able to get through to him. It's it's disturbing to see what's going on with Ye as a longtime Kanye fan. No,
it's Ye to you now, man.
Not. As a longtime Kanye fan, it's really it's awkward.
So give me listen, all your shoes that you have of his. Listen, give them to me, man.
No, because and I'll tell you why. Because I love the shoes that he's made. I have a gigantic Yeezy collection. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. I have so many different pairs of shoes. I have many pairs that have never been worn that are just sitting in boxes waiting for me. And I still feel comfortable wearing them because if anybody says, hey, if anybody notices and comments, if anybody goes, hey, what are you doing wearing Yeezys? Don't you know he's a Nazi? I'd be like, I'm Jewish. So I get a pass. I think I get a pass.
You know what, Dave? I'd be really surprised that anybody will say that to you.
AJ. You don't get a pass.
Why?
So if you're wearing Yeezys, I'm going to call you an anti-Semite, even though I know that you're not.
No, but like seriously, as long as they're comfortable, I don't give a rat's ass, man. Do I really care?
I know,
about
but
that
it sends a message. I think now, if you wear Yeezys and you're not Jewish, it sends a message that, like, yes, I support this, and I may be an anti-Semite too.
Dude, I don't look at the world like that, man. It doesn't even, like, honestly, man. If somebody would say that to me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, go fuck yourself. But you know what? It's just simple as that, man. I come from a different time in life where I'm like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I'm wearing these shoes because I like them.
Okay, but you don't wear Yeezys,
Listen, man,
so it's not an issue.
No, I do. I thought you gave me. Aren't those Yeezys that you gave me? No. What are those things?
I gave you NMDs. Those aren't Yeezys. See, I just I just pull. These are just right here next to my desk because I just walk around in these. See, these are Yeezy slides. They're awesome. I love them so much.
Yeah,
They're awesome. They're so nice. They're so comfortable. They're perfect, you know? I'm not ready to give up the shoes. I'm not ready to give up the goddamn shoes or the music. I can't give up the music. This is the problem, man. This is the problem. Like, all the shit that he's doing right now, I'm like, oh, no, what is happening? But the music is, like, my favorite, you know? I saw him on the St. Pablo tour. He was on this elevated stage going around. He looked like an alien. It was like a spaceship. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. These songs are my favorite songs. Blood on the Leaves, Runaway. Get out of here, man. Through the Wire. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been with Kanye since the beginning. I was listening to Kanye since before his first album came out. I was waiting for that College Dropout to drop. I've been with Kanye for so long. 20 years I've been with this guy. Supporting, admiring, enjoying the art, loving the guy and what he represented. And now what he represents is something I don't recognize. I miss the old Kanye. Sure. I miss the old Kanye. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
That's why I always tell you, man, listen to Vanilla Ice, man. No controversy there, man. Ice Ice Baby.
No.
It's easy.
Yeah, but it's garbage, you know? Kanye made some tremendous music, and he's still probably making tremendous music. That's the crazy shit, too. If he put out an album tomorrow full of Nazi, like, promoting Nazis, it'd probably still be dope. It'd probably be good fucking songs. I'd be like, man, Kanye's kind of lost it, but, man, this beat is fire. It'd be tough. You know, it'd be hard. It'd be hard not to listen to a new Kanye album. It's tough not to appreciate the art because I really do like it. I really do, and I have for so long. This is the thing, Kanye. Jews have been supporting you for years, man. Have you seen who the audience is at your concerts? It's us. It's us, Kanye. We've always supported you. And yeah, maybe a guy that runs the record label is Jewish and he maybe didn't give you the best deal. That happens. But goddamn, man, it's not the whole people that are against you.
I'll make it happen, Dave. You're getting me like all depressed for like the holidays, man.
It hurts, man.
PR Mark is gonna get on it, man. He's gonna try to get like Kanye or whatever you want to call him. We'll try to get something set up, man. Yee.
I love him. I love everything he does. I love his style. I love his attitude. And that's the thing. That's the thing. No matter what, I still have love for Kanye. Because I can't not have love for Kanye. But I'm disappointed. And I'm sad.
Yeah, but did he really say shit about Nazis?
I'm disappointed that he's saying all this shit. And I'm sad because it feels like an attack on me a little bit.
Yeah, but do you think all of that is true? Do you think like some of it is like
I don't know, maybe he's putting it on, maybe it's whatever. But whatever it is, man.
Taking things out of context too,
whatever it is, man, like, you know, he's saying a lot of bad shit about Jewish people. Not, you know, certain people in the media that happen to be Jewish. He is making statements about the Jewish people. And I am among the Jewish people. So when he's saying that shit, it feels like a direct attack on me, on my family, on my friends. You know, it feels like a direct attack. And that hurts. It just hurts. You know, I don't want to see like a guy who I've looked to as a hero, as an icon, saying this shit like, oh, man, I didn't know. Like if Kanye met me, he probably wouldn't like me based on what the fuck he's saying. Based on what he's saying about how he doesn't like Jewish people or what you know, he's saying, "Oh, I love Jewish people and I love Hitler too." It's like, well, you can't really do both, man.
Listen, I bet if both of you were smoking weed, you'd like work it out. I can guarantee that.
Maybe. He couldn't probably. I don't think he could hang with me
guarantee
smoking weed, though, to be honest. I think I'd smoke him
you never
under the
know, man.
table.
So there you
For
go.
me,
You
it's
could
only
do
Willie
like
Nelson and Snoop Dogg that could fuck with me, all right? Maybe Wiz Khalifa. Even then. I don't know. All right, that's
Listen,
it.
man,
I don't want
PR
to talk
Mark
about
hung with,
Kanye
like-
anymore. I love him. I hate him. I don't know what to feel.
Sounds
It
like a regular
sucks.
marriage.
It sucks. I feel like Kim Kardashian. Every day it's harder and harder to love that man.
I'm sure she got it pretty hard too. But listen,
AJ,
man.
Why do you have to take it?
Well,
there?
you're on
okay.
the
We're done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I've had it. I'll be back with Johnny North tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for a more civilized conversation about professional wrestling. We'll talk about pro wrestling tomorrow night at 10, and that'll be fun. And then next week, we'll be previewing UFC 282, right? Ankalaev
Coming up,
versus
man.
Blachowicz. And then we'll do the watch-along next Saturday for the
Crazy.
UFC pay-per-view, final UFC pay-per-view of the year. Our final
Is that crazy
watch-along.
already?
Final watch-along of the year, UFC 282, Ankalaev versus Blachowicz. Coming up not this Saturday, but next Saturday, December the 10th. So get ready for that next week here on the Ringside Report Network. Shout out to Angelo Contagonis and all the other fantastic members supporting the channel. Join.ringsidereport.net if you have not joined already. Join.ringsidereport.net or donate.ringsidereport.net. Angelo wants you to check your Twitter DM, AJ, when you have a minute. Okay? Can you please
I
start
will.
responding to some of the people? Angelo wants you to check your DMs. Antoinette told me that she wrote to you and you never responded to her. So answer
What?
Antoinette as
When?
well.
Jesus.
Get it together.
That's why I got a PR. Where's Mark, man? He handles this shit for me.
He handles your personal messages? That's good.
Listen, man, AJ's a busy guy, dude.
I know you are. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.